Second session focusing on the agenda for service quality and improvements in the logistic ecosystem. Our session is titled as Enhancing Service Quality in Multimodal Logistics. During the service provider session, we will assess the service quality provided by logistics service providers, ports, shipping lines and container terminals. Our goal is to explore strategies for service improvements and discuss customer-centric approaches to enhance the overall logistics experience. And to facilitate a meaningful discussion on the topics, I would like to invite all our dignitaries to join us on the stage. To begin with, first of all, I would like to invite on stage Ms. Nilima Palav, Head Customer Care, CAMA CGM Agencies India Private Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together while we welcome all our dignitaries on stage for our very next session. Ms. Nilima Palav is a service-minded customer experience manager with a broad scope of experience in shipping, logistics, and supply chain. She possesses a keen ability to access ineffective areas of customer service and propose effective solutions. Her expertise lies in customer loyalty, relationship management, and value management. Here we have Ms. Palav right here on stage. Welcome, ma'am. Next, I would like to call upon stage Mr. Amit Tandon, Managing Director, Asia Shipping International Transport Private Limited. Mr. Amit Tandon is a young, energetic and dynamic entrepreneur widely appreciated in logistic industry circles for his qualities of dynamism and innovation, coupled with an engaging personality. Mr. Amit is a graduate of the University of Delhi, having completed his Masters in Business Management in 2004. Welcome, Mr. Tandon, to you too. Next, Mr. Jeekshith Shetty, Managing Director, Bhavani Group. He initiated his career in 2005 with training at Wells Academy of Maritime Studies, Chennai, followed by earning a higher national diploma in nautical science from the University of Glasgow, Scotland. After accumulating 5 years of sailing experience, he joined Bhavani Group in 2012. Since then, he has been invaluable support system to his father, mentor, and managing director of Bhavani Group, Mr. K.D. Shetty. Welcome, Mr. Shetty. Next, Mr. Biju Thomas, Managing Director, Sevenseas Global Express Logistic Private Limited. Mr. Biju Thomas graduated from MG University in Kerala and holds an MBA in Shipping Management from NPI Mumbai. After gaining experience with various shipping lines such as One-Hei Lines Taiwan and Hanjin Korea, he founded Sevenseas in 2001, which has since expanded to 21 offices across the country. He was recognized by the Economic Times as Leaders Tomorrow in 2012 and was honored as one of the top 10 emerging entrepreneurs of the year by CNBC TV 18 in 2013. Welcome, Mr. Thomas. Next, Mr. Sujal Shah, CEO, Adani Port and SEZ Limited, Mundra. Mr. Sujal Shah has amassed over the 3 decades of rich experience and proven himself as a successful business leader in the metal and mining industry across India, the Middle East and Africa. His extensive career includes serving as a CEO of various businesses under Vedanta Limited such as FACOR, SESA, Goa, Hindustan Zinc, among others. Before joining APSEZ, he held the position of Chief Executive Officer at Ferro Alloy Corporation Limited, Bhadrak, Odisha. Welcome, Mr. Shah, to you too. Next, Mr. Priyalal Prabhakaran, Joint Managing Director, EMU Lines Private Limited. He has been associated with EMU for the past 18 years. Currently, he is leading the Western region, settling new benchmarks for the trade. He is blessed with the best customer service desk and a sales team. Welcome to you too, sir. Next, Mr. Kiran Nandre, Director, Short Shipping and NVOCC, Rhenus Logistics. He is an experienced logistics and shipping executive with a proven track record of 29 years visionary leadership. He consistently makes critical decisions based on industry expertise, strong ethics and unwavering integrity. His forward-thinking approach enables him to envision and implement innovative solutions that optimize logistics, shipping, operation and propel business growth. Welcome to you too, Mr. Nandre. And last but not the least, we have Captain Mohit Chaturvedi, Senior Vice President, GM Baxi Ports and Terminal here today to moderate the session and to set the tone of the discussion. With over 20 years of experience in ports and logistics domains, Captain Mohit Chaturvedi's areas of responsibility have encompassed supply chain operations, international logistics, container port operations, feeder operation, port infrastructure development and management. Captain Mohit's last employment was with APSEZ as Hell India Container Sales. Welcome to you too, Captain Chaturvedi, and now over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's working now. Yeah, good evening everybody, and first of all, heartiest congratulations to Mr. Mohan Das for repeating successfully and maintaining the excellence of the forums which he conducts with great insightful thoughts that we get to know of the industry, and also must give the credit to the C-Trade team for choosing a panel which is as diversified as I've got, with different verticals of multimodal logistic paths, which will give us great insight. With that, I will not take much time when you have brains like these sitting with me. I would rather share their thoughts than give my own. So let us start the session. The first session was a very insightful one with Mr. Iyer conducted. It was more of a challenge and success on the multimodal logistic part provided by the service industry. This session we will be conducting to understand what goes on behind all these cost and the service reliability, service expectation of the customer. What are their expectations? How we work to achieve that expectation, and how do we deliver that? So we'll be having a little bit of an insightful session on those points, and let's hear out from them. So my first question will be to Mr. Biju Thomas. We have two questions here. What are the service qualities that you bring to the table as a freight forwarder to retain customers? And second will be, how important is service quality in the freight forwarding business? Over to you, Mr. Biju.
Thank you, Captain Mohit. Before I come to the service quality and services required, I would like to define freight forwarding in a layman's language. We are nothing but a trumpet, beaten from both sides, and we are crying, but it looks like a song for you, music for you. So, why I said so is because we are actually sandwiched between the kind of, we rely on certain service providers like shipping companies, airlines, airport, seaport, customs, truckers, even God Almighty, the weather. And the other side, a customer which has got high expectations of services. He wants every container, every shipment go 100% perfect. But then, we get the beatings from the other side where most of the service providers, they don't care if they lose a customer. But then for us, losing a customer is a big deal, okay? So, service quality, if you don't maintain, there is no survival for a freight forwarder. the very survival of the freight forward depend on what's the kind of quality of services he delivers on the table to the customer. We often say it's like a marriage when we get into a customer. A potential customer can be a lifelong customer for you, and it can be a one-time customer also to you. Oh, it's like marriage. It can be a lifelong marriage. It can be, the divorce can be offered, or you can divorce and come back also. So it is like, it's a very, very demanding area. In the sense, first of all, we have to be extremely good communicators. Communication is the key service area for freight forwarder. Because we deal with number of other service providers, number of vendors, wherein we get hard facts which we have to package it in such a way that the customer doesn't get the tension, and we take all that, wrinkles. We say that we iron out all those wrinkles on the foreheads of the logistics managers of the, ultimate customer, the exporters or importer. So number one is communication. Communication is not just a communication. It's not a cut and paste job at all. So we source the informations from the shipping lines, transporter, port, customs, everywhere, and then, we put ourselves into the shoes of the customer and completely make that communication in such a way that customer understand it properly and he digest it also. There are hard facts sometimes. You can have, ship not calling, your container getting offloaded, airline, losing parcels, customs delaying the clearances, shock cost notices. So there are so many issues which we face day in, day out, but then we have to convince the customer in such a way that he understands the problems, he get convinced that as a genuine issue, and then, pass that and he agrees to it. So the communication is the major area of services, and the quality of services has to be extremely good in such a way that everything what we communicate is crystal clear to the customer. Number two is the operational efficiency. So this is basically the team of people who work on the ground. The people who is on the ground, they move goods from the truck to the airlines, or from the customers go down to the ship. Need to be extremely careful and then work in such a way that they don't miss the vessel, they don't miss the flight. It is done on time, customs clearance is done on time, papers are moved on time. So that's one area where the quality has to be extremely good. So another area is, the efficiency of freight management. The freight is something like highly fluctuating today. So today you say X is the freight, tomorrow it can be even X by 2, X into 2. The freight, the ocean freight and air freight, it's fluctuates like a stock market sometimes. You cannot predict what is the freight going to be tomorrow. So in that situation, a freight forwarder has to be equipped enough to get the finest possible spot rates and pass it on to the customer. So that's where one of the other major area of efficiency in services lie. Then comes to the documentation. See, especially in the customs clearance, when it comes to, we are also one of the largest custom brokers in the country. We have 24 offices across India, and we have most of the offices do the customs clearance too. So that is one area where we have seen a lot of human error can happen. It is simply typing the whole page of, checklists, and there can be, we have seen a lot of error which is happening, and then we recheck it, and then, So we are trying to use an AI tool to make sure that the error is minimized, and human error is something which we should completely wanted to avoid. So only area we understand is the AI, where something is scanned, is automatically come into without even typed. It understands what commodity it is and what under what category it comes. So that's going to be the next level of services we are looking at on the documentation part of it. Then the customer service. So customer service, we feel experience makes a lot of differences. We are trying to put in the most experienced customer service person. There's a major link between the customer service and the end customer. So this link is basically, we have to create a very strong link by putting the right people in the right place. I always say, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. So you have to have the best of the flocks to give the right kind of services to the customers. These are the quality of services that a freight forwarder should look into.
All right, thanks Biju, thanks a lot. So yes, we got it very clear that your main focus is, first of all, is a very clear and awareing communication with the customers to make them what is happening, why it is happening, and what you are doing to control it. Second will be operational efficiencies, including the documentation, avoiding the errors, and going to the minute details of providing to the customer as well as the customs. And also very important is the relationship building with the main lines to have better rates and pass that on to the customers. We also did get your sense of the peanuts and the monkey, but during my sailing days, we used to hear this, if you throw peanuts, you get monkeys. But what we feel is, with peanuts, you can still get good assets. You just have to keep a beer by the side of the peanuts, and you'll get all the assets with you. So you can still have good people with peanuts, just you have to add the value. Right? So thank you, Biju. Thanks a lot.
Adding to that, actually, if you want to reiterate a customer with you, if you want to retain a customer for a very long time, you will have to build a reputation of good services. This, actually, to acquire a new customer is a Herculean task today. So to acquire a new customer, you have to create a positive word of mouth, which happens, which can be created only through a efficient service, providing an efficient services.
Yeah, Biju, totally agree with that. As important as it is to have a good service provider, it is also equally important to have a good and a loyal customers today. So I totally echo that thought of yours. So thanks, Biju. Thanks throwing light on that. My second question will be for Mr. Jeekshith Shetty, which again I just got to know he happens to my college mate also. We pursued nautical science from the same college, that is Glasgow College of Nautical Studies. What a beautiful place that Scotland is, yeah. Should not go down the memory lane as yet, yes. So again, the question again, it remains on first of his service quality, that what service quality as a tool to grow business is lacking in highly unorganized and fragmented logistic industry in India, and how do you change that mindset? And second will be, from a transporter's point of view, what is Bhavani Group doing to improve service quality?
Thank you, Captain. And yes, pleasant surprise. It's nice to catch up. I mean, you're the first person after I left the college that I'm meeting who's from Glasgow. So good evening, everyone. And I would like to begin by thanking Seatrade for this opportunity. And I was just moving around the floor and I could see, all the logistics fraternity are here. So it's a very tough task to sit in front of you guys, and you all are masters. You all know what is needed if service quality has to be improved. So we all will definitely try our level best to bring the same thing, but with a different package, I would say. So honestly, I personally feel that there has to be a lot of focus on your sales force and customer service. I too agree with what you said about the peanuts and the monkeys. I mean, I have got best of talents who have come at a very cheap salary structure, and then grown over the period. What is important, I feel today, as a management myself who's representing my company, but I also tell my managers, employees, they never leave an organization. They leave their managers. So it's very important that we as managers have to take care of our people like family. We have kids at home, they make mistakes, they make errors, we don't kick them out of the house. But here today, the mindset is very clear. Either you perform, we are paying you XYZ, you deliver, or you get out. I think we are moving at a very fast pace now. I mean, things have changed. I mean, now when you see a resume and you see 10 years of experience, you immediately look up to the candidate and you say, wow, how did you manage to pull that off? So now I think 5 years itself is respected. So I think there is some big problem there, and we all as a fraternity have to understand. Because if our own house is not settled well, we can't expect our customers to be happy. And customers, the biggest complaint they usually have is when there is a change of people or team members in your company. So I feel definitely we have training sessions in place. But I think training sessions shouldn't be about PPTs. I have called a lot of people who give trainings. They come in, they start slide, okay, slide 1 chalu hua, slide 25 pe khatam hua. And they just go about talking. I think it has to be beyond that. We all have to have that human connection. It's very important, and first if we do that, I'm pretty sure that we will see the result at a later stage. That is number one. Number two, of course, we all have been hearing about IT, softwares and stuff like that. So, of course, being a young generation, I also get very excited looking at softwares and stuff. And I have myself invested and failed with the investments. And I couldn't understand why I was failing, because I was paying the best of packages. I was just signing the checks and giving it out. That is when I realized that I was not going to the bottommost person in my organization, not understanding that what they were doing previously manually, is it benefiting when I get a software? Is the process easier? Is it faster? The thing is, today what we do is we just look at the, the reports aspect and how the data analyzing can be done from a software. We are not looking at the crust, the bottom crust of it. Like, every member in your team has to be very passionate about IT. You have to make them feel special. You have to make them give that importance, that their suggestions are valued. I think that is one of the reasons we all can agree upon one thing, that as a logistic industry, our sector has been the least when it comes to adapting or adoption of a software. Definitely we were discussing a while back about AI and all. I think from a shipping line point of view, they are already there, and they can definitely talk about AI. But I come from a MSME sector, our organization falls under MSME. So for us, first of all, IT, integration to IT itself is a challenge now. Forget about AI, So this is number two. I feel we have a lot to do when it comes to digitalization. Number three, I think, of course, like Mr. Biju said, communication. Very important. I don't think I have to lecture anybody over here in terms of what is communication. What I truly believe is, in our industry, I tell my people, don't communicate, over-communicate. I have always seen that over-communication with customers have never gone wrong. You feed them with over-information, they are happy. Good, you're calling, you're updating. They are very happy about it. So, just to keep it very simple, over-communication would be my slogan to everyone. And honesty. I think customers are really smart today. They know, in fact, they will explain you logistics maybe better than few of my team members. They know everything in terms of rates, the prices, the sailings, the schedules, everything tip of their tongue. So I personally feel that they know that when we are in the service industry, problems are bound to happen. It will be there. What they like is honesty. Come right up front. Say that there has been a problem, we are sorry about it. Of course, it won't be a pleasant communication because they appreciate honesty, but then you will have to have your ears all, ready to for their gango, you know. So, but yes, I feel that over the period of time, that is how the relations are built. You don't lose customers. The trust is formed. So I also tell my people, yes, please be honest about things. And last but not the least, customer feedback mechanism. We have worked very hard on reviewing our customers' feedback on a monthly basis. Of course, there are few customers, when you send them a feedback form, a lot of time it's always about the waiver request, saying that either your prices were high or you didn't give me this XYZ waivers and stuff like that. So I think a lot of the thought process has to also be shared to the customers, that when we talk of feedback, it's more from a service point of view rather than talking about the pricing point of view. So I think the education also has to be there at the other end. But yes, customer feedback definitely helps you grow over the period of time. Now, when we talk of what Bhavani Group does as a transporter, we have really invested a lot in training our drivers. You know, and we all know, I mean, especially during the recent strikes and all, we came to know how important the drivers are. Though we all say they are important, but until unless those kind of things doesn't happen, the real value is not seen. So yes, we have invested a lot in the driver trainings, and the benefits of that we have seen over the period of time in terms of very less accident cases and fuel efficiencies, you know, faster turnaround of vehicles, and these are all resulting in cost benefits. And these are the benefits that eventually we have passed on to the customer. And again, I want to even appreciate our partners like Ashok Leyland. They are a very big group. They have invested very heavily on chips, you know, which go into the vehicle. Now, those are the chips which give you a real-time data about how the driver is actually driving the vehicle. You know, whether he's overspeeding, whether he's using clutches more often, whether he's braking very aggressively. So all these things, I think it's a total team effort which has resulted in us delivering better. Then again, as a group, we have also invested heavily into policies. You know, we have given a sense of comfort to our customers by having policies which covers cargo as well, whenever there is an accident that takes place. Because a lot of our customers have often complained that, you know, transporters, yes, they are there, but when there is a disaster or an accident that has happened, that is the time when they give off. I mean, they just leave saying that we are the smallest people in the chain, don't expect us to pay you anything, you know. So these big companies like Mahindras, the Piaggios, they want their associated partners to think about them as well. So I think that has been, of course, it's a cost added. But I think over the period of time, I have seen customers continue with me for 5, 7, 10 years, you know, and that has reaped a lot of benefit as an organization. And again, as far as customers are concerned, yes, one-to-one connections. As I said, I have invested in softwares, and I tried to go digital with the customers as well. I thought investing on people and sending them out to get a feedback or to see them personally, let us cut that cost. And let us bring a CRM in place where, you know, they know, okay, they can type things and stuff like, it didn't work for me, very honestly speaking. And India, I feel, is one nation where people, no matter what, they enjoy the personal touch. They want somebody to come in front, sit in front, have a chat, understand. And most importantly, you know, I have seen a lot of benefits because, as I said, things definitely go wrong. But when you feel that the customer is heard, he has a sense of satisfaction. He feels कि चलो हो गया बंदा आया तो सही सामने बैठा तो सही चलो काम करते हैं कोई problem नहीं. So this is one aspect where we have really worked on. We kept that software aspect a little aside, brought in people and had that personal touch. So that is another thing that has really helped the group. So to summarize, this is what would be my piece of advice. But again, as I said, we have got a lovely audience here, and definitely they all might have got 100 more logics there, you know, to the thing. So thank you for your patience and hearing me out. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeekshith. So the applaud says that you already spoke well, right? So they have grasped whatever you said, and it's good to know that you are doing a bit better with your employees, the drivers, the cargo, as well as your transporters, machineries. Got to know the bullet points is first is that you need to respect the knowledge of the customer today, that you need to understand that he might be older in the business, although he's not running that business, but probably he might be older in that business than you are today. So you have to respect the knowledge of the customer. Then I did get the point of a clear communication and technology integration, which is again a very, very valid point. And I think a lot of light will be thrown on that by the next speaker, Mr. Amit Tandar, who is quite advanced in integrating technology with his business. So over to you, Amit. Again, 2 questions. And just for the sake of it, you will find very repetitive questions of asking the quality of service and what we are doing as a service provider. So I'll just repeat myself that what I said in the beginning, the reason of asking this more or less similar question is because we have a very diversified panel. So everybody, although they are part of a same umbrella of multimodal logistic, but they pitch in as a different player, as a different vertical. So their way of working, their mode of working, their contribution to the trade will be totally different. And that's how we will get a different sort of ideas from the different panel members. Yeah, so Amit, again, the question remains, introducing service quality levels is one thing and sustaining is another. How do you keep up the momentum? Second will be, are customers choosy about service quality, or are they looking at only the cost while picking a service provider?
Thank you, Captain. Good evening, everyone. Wishing you all a very happy new year. I will just take on a little further than what Biju and Mr. Shetty had said. Firstly, for us, there are 2 words that go into the service. One for us is consistency, and the other one is adaptability. Consistency is what you're doing on a regular basis. You're in touch with the customer. You have a customer service team, you have an operation team, you have a documentation team. And then we talk about communication. Communication, as Mr. Biju said, has to be communication. Mr. Shetty said over communication. I feel it has to be effective communication. So the idea is to be firstly regularly in touch with the customer. What we try and do is meet the customer in the beginning, take up their expectations, what they're looking at, how they want to be updated, what kind of communication they're looking at. So what we do in terms of technology that we were talking about, firstly for us, the most important thing in our organization is the people that work in it. If we understand that being a service organization and the service industry that we are as good as the people that we have. So the most important emphasis for us is to train them, firstly from the most basic things, which could be effective communication, and then going up to be in the most technical parts of the business that we do. Going forward, so technology plays a very important role. Why we say that is because we work on a software which we've been working on about for 6.5 years. Being a multinational company, we use the software globally. A lot of things that a customer expects as an update can be automated right in the beginning. So it's a very simple example. We go meet a customer, the customer say, okay, I need to be updated on every movement of my goods. So you can actually automate that with the email IDs and the telephone numbers that they give you. You can actually automate that in the system, and then it moves the manual intervention out of it, which means that nobody can forget to create a DSR, nobody can forget to send an email, and this way technology really helps. On the other side of it, how it helps us, it gives people that are in constant touch with the clients more time to be closer to their customers, understand their needs, and what the customer is expecting going forward. He also mentioned, Mr. Biju also mentioned about procuring freight competitively. You can only do that, and agree it or not, I mean, you need to create a relationship with the client. Only then you feel that empathy that, you know, I need to help my customer reduce his cost of moving his goods. So only if you have that right procurement and you have that connection with the client, you would definitely offer it to them. So this way, we focus a lot on automation. We focus a lot on training our people, which helps us enhance the experience that a customer wants. So just to come back to the communication part. Over communication, I totally agree with him. Customers really enjoy updated every day, maybe twice a day. But we've had instances, so if you talk about the global scenario, you talk about American clients, for example. American clients do not like email traffic. They hate it. They would want you to say, let's be crisp and clear, give me 2 or 3 emails, and then let's finish it. And this is what we are inculcating in our team in our company in Asia Shipping. We focus on training them to finish the job in 5 emails. So this is basically what we are trying to do. Coming back to the point, if customers are cost-centric or service-centric, I actually divide that in 2 parts. For me, somebody who's dealing in high-value commodities would actually look at service. Somebody dealing in low-value commodities would be looking at price. But anyways, in India specifically, everybody expects the highest level of service at the cheapest price. So you have to have a balance. You need to have the right procurement in terms of freight. And you need to have that security, the speed, the accuracy, the commitment that the customer is looking for. So that's what we're looking at, yeah.
Right. Thanks, Amit. So you have really touched well on the points of empathy. And the most important part, which again will be, I think, repeated by everybody, is communication. But the most important part, what you said, is the effective communication. So sometime, like we say, it has to be the customized communication, right? So for example, if you are working with somebody in US, they will have a different way of communicating, or they will like a different way of communicating. They will not like too many of the emails and all. If you are communicating with somebody, say in Japan, they would like to have a repetitive communication because that's their culture of working, that before doing something, they want to repeat and do it. So they would like to have more communication. In India, it might be, again, India being a diversified country, you might have a different challenge of communicating to somebody sitting in north than somebody sitting in east, west, and south. So what you rightly touched, and I 100% agree with you, is that the most important thing is effective communication. Otherwise, the advantage of a communication can easily become a disadvantage if you don't understand the pulse of the customer or the person you are communicating. I also did get a sense about the technology, integrating technology in phases, so that for 2 reasons. First of all, you need to give that comfort to your employees that this technology is not taking the job away for them. It is just making the job easy and effective for the organization. And secondly is that it's the employee who is controlling, or the company or the management who is controlling the technology, not the other way around, whereby the company or manager or the employees are being run by the technology. So point well taken. I think you just want to add something. Amit.
Yeah, so coming back to the point where you're talking about a customer experience, right? If you want your people to be effectively communicating with your clients, technology will play a very important role. We've recently working on and actually launched this portal in our office in Brazil. It's our brand called Veja. It's a digital platform where customers can go online during off hours, get a quote, place a booking. More so, what is more important in that platform is why we are cutting the manual intervention out of it, where we are uploading all their documents on their sign-in, and we give them a sign-in, we give them a password, you log in, and they can go and track their shipments. We are tied up with a company called Project 44 for tracking around the world. Other than tracking, we upload all their documents, their BL, their invoices, everything. So there's no email traffic, and which saves a lot of time for our team to communicate effectively and be closer to the customer, understand their needs. So I think technology will definitely is the way forward. Thank you.
Do agree with that, Amit. Thanks for summing it up. So now I'll just head to Mr. Priyalal. Again, the same set of questions, but in a different sense is, how does a logistic intermediary ensure service quality guarantee when he is dependent on others for shipping cargo to destination? Then how do you align your service quality levels with others in supply chain? And the reason that this question is to you is that you have a very specific part to play in the intermodal logistic industry. And that is why this question to you, that how do you integrate the other verticals of intermodal logistics to make it a good win-win solution?
Thanks, Mohit. I would like to thank the crowd the logistic fraternity and street trade for organizing such a beautiful event and giving us an opportunity to come and speak and share our experiences. India is basically growing, and every Indian and India is actually, we are going to become a manufacturer hub. So maybe like it's all the major MNCs are opening up their giga factories here. So in coming years, like we are expecting a lot of manufacturing units, especially when it comes to Gujarat and Maharashtra. I would say like things are thriving. So when it comes to serving those industries, like we need to be well equipped with our services. For us, like for EMU, like we are basically an LCL consolidation company, and for years, like we have a lot of sales team going out to the market and selling the product. But we have grown just because of the customer service, the backup we have. For past 20 years, we have survived here is just because of the backup. Because like you have a sales team and going and selling is quite easy. But providing the backup service is more important than the actual selling. So we are into that. And for that, like we need to be equipped with our technological things. Like we need to become digitally. Every company has to go digital nowadays. Whether you have, if you go to our website, we have number of services available. But we don't know like what our customers the services are going to use. But we should have all the services in a platter so that our customer can choose whatever services we have. Recently, like, and moreover, like I would say, whatever services we are offering to our customers, we have to see whether that particular product is adding any value to that customer. Otherwise, like all those services which we are providing, it will go in vain. For example, like we have an 16,000 square meter warehouse in JWR. Out of that, I'm talking Navasheva. Out of that, like we have 14,000 square meter, which is being used as a normal warehouse, and another 20,000 square meter, which is being used as a special warehouse, like where if you go to any other warehouse in normal LCL warehouse, like you don't find any warehouse closed from all the 5 sides. So basically it is covered from the top and all the 4 sides, because if you see like in JWR, like the work might continue for another 10-15 years because they are also growing. So we need to preserve our cargo, especially pharma and high value cargo, which needs a care which is not possible in normal warehouse. So we invested a good amount of money just to have that warehouse, and with no cost. We are not charging any extra amount from our customers, but just wanted to serve and it comes as a value-added thing for them. So, and I would say like in past 1.5 years, we started attracting more pharma customers, and that is helping us to grow. So whenever you give something new to the customers, it enhances your business. So for us, like for many years, like we had been focusing on LCL, and now like in past so many years, like we were trying to have something in Mundra. Like we have opened an office here just to be on par with Multimodal, because so far like we had been focusing on LCL only. Now the time has come for each and every individual, every company has to focus in multiple verticals. We can't survive just with one vertical. It's basically, now it's like time. If you want to remain where you are, you can continue doing the same thing. But if you want to thrive, then you have to do something new. You have to do something innovative, which others have not done. For us, like it is creating a new market for us, creating a new service. In LCL industry, we need to, every now and then, we need to have some new services to be launched, to be in the market, as par with the competitors. So we are doing, I would say we are customized, like we are providing customized services to each and every client. It is not the same kind of services to each and every client because every client have different requirement. So if we all are in the same line, I would say the key lies in careful planning and a process to continuous improvement. That will help every one of us to serve our customers better. When it comes to supply chain, I would say that supply chain management we are totally dependent on so many vendors when it comes to supply chains, be it warehouse, be it transporter, cold chain management, skilled laborers. So we are actually into so many things when it comes to supply chain. In supply chain also the same thing, like we have to have a clear SLA with all our vendors, distributors and manufacturers. So these are some of the things like what we follow on daily basis to remain in the market and to be competitive as per the market. Like we need to be very competitive in terms of services. Thank you, Mohit.
Thanks, Priyalal. So got your understanding. As much as we know how challenging LCL consolidation is because of the diversified cargo, you need to be on your foot to provide solution for the different customer, different type of cargo. Sometimes you have to consolidate maybe more than 10-15 times of commodities in one box, and you should have a solution and option for everybody. Also do take your point that you do largely also rely on the foot soldiers, whereby you have a good sales force reaching out to the end customer and understanding their demand and requirement. And thirdly, the infrastructure development, which you have to continuously do. So with this infrastructure development, I should then directly head to the pioneers of infrastructure in ports and logistics in India, none other than Adani Ports. So Mr. Sujal, the question for you is, as a port and logistic giants, what step have you introduced to improve service quality? And does the service quality come with an added cost?
So, Namaskar. Couple of things. I think mostly what I would be saying may not be entirely different than the panel has said, but I would prefer to stick to the area or the domain where we work. So typically the infrastructure area and then the port area, the way we deal with the service quality, I think I'm pretty sure everybody understands that from customer attraction, customer serving, to a life cycle of a customer retention. The service quality is a one single thread which binds all the three phases. So we all have to go through the service quality prominence as always to be our North Star. So we at Adani, we work with a few principles on this one. So I call those principles the tech. So the T stands for transparency. Most important for a customer is to be transparent. Second for us remains the technology. So we continue to upgrade ourselves on a customer experience basis, the technological requirement. And who are my customers? My customers are definitely the shipping line, definitely the CFS, but to me, in one of my important stakeholder in my chain is also the last line truck gentleman, to a customer who's coming and visiting us, somebody who wants a clarification on where the container is, where the cargo is. We are developing few more digital enabled, self-propelled, self-usable kind of interfaces by which my customers can log in and look at probably the ship arrival, ship discharge, ETD of a ship, what's happening on this cargo. They have an option to look at and trace their containers. So these are the way we continue to upgrade our technology for customer-centric. Within the port and SEZ premises, whatever is repetitious, what effort is repetitious, what effort is prone to error and can be automated, we continue to upgrade our systems in automating it. Like whether it's a terminal operating stations, whether the container tracking system, ship booking systems, as we go on a reefer area, how do I pronounce the reefer conditions to my customers so that the end customer should be started to look at what's happening to my cargo. It reduces anxiety, it improves the service level, and it adds up to the transparency. To do all this, and with the tech-enabled more and more equipment, we need to continue to strive for pushing training metrics as high as possible. Mr. Shetty was saying, Mr. Tandon was saying the same thing. We need to continue to enhance the trained resource pool, which is ready to handle not just my equipment, but the technological need for the trade. So this is a continual effort that we continue to do it in our area. The E for me is an experience and efficiency. So the experience of a customer we have spoken. The efficiency is something that we need to work. The efficiency of a movement, the efficiency of a cost, the efficiency probably to a level of a cargo loss, which is normally factored in some of the dry commodities. So all those have to be dialed to the best in the industry level. This happens with what Mr. Priyalal was saying, a continual improvement cycle. So I think the same principles, but it is applied across the value chain in APSEZ. The C is a cost efficiency. I don't generally like to use the word cost. It's a efficient cost. So there's always a cost. How can we improve the cost efficiency? That is the area where we need to work on. The cost efficiency probably on let's say in a previous session we were talking about the trucker and diesel cost and all this. The moment we have started seeing a simple one change on a toll gate or improved our road condition, we all have experienced an improved cost structure of a transportation of a good, and of course the time taken for moving the good from a point A to point B, and hence becoming more predictable, more efficient. So we continue to work on efficiency within our port, that we try to optimize every move to a productive move rather than probably a avoidable move. So we need to be ahead of the curve on a planning cycle for a projected need and work on it. As we all know, the infrastructure industry is a high gestation period industry. So we need to plan much ahead of a trade requirement and start building the infrastructure at an opportune time, and we continue to work with balancing, or we try to do probably trying to beat the curve ahead of the time. So this is a continual improvement journey that we continue to drive within us. The last H is in a way told by Mr. Shetty is the human asset we have. The most important asset in Adani we have is our human asset. And we work on retaining them, training them, treating them right, having them to have a right experience. The other one, H, which stands for humility. We prefer to be humble. We want to talk to every customer. We want to understand their concern, understand their pain, be a part of a solution rather than being on the other side of the table. So this two together works for us as a continual effort on improving the service quality. I hope I covered up.
Yeah, Sujal, definitely, and I would 100% echo your thought that myself coming from the same segment of port and terminals, we have one of the most vast customer base, because most of the service providers today are our customers at one point of the time. So we have to be very, very forthcoming. We have to be very, very futuristic. And like Mr. Mohandas also had mentioned in the speech, the one dynamic shift what we have seen in India in last few years is that 10, 15 years back, there used to be a business model basis which you will develop the infrastructure. Now, thankfully, that thought process has turned around, and it has to be that you have to build a infrastructure and then anticipate or get a business model. So you should be ready before the business or before the demand rather than the other way around. So thank you.
If I can just add one thing, that maybe as some of the panelists were saying, that the customers, the shipping lines, probably a US client of Mr. Tandon, he expects a different level of an experience. He expects a different level of a communication. He expects probably a different depth of a communication. But when we come to a level of making it efficient for a truck operator, so truck operator, for him, we understand, he earns, he enjoys only when the wheel is turning. So on a port area, we are trying to work the tech-enabled area, that the entry to the port, we want to have it without a stop. He should be able to create, every one of us are ordering materials on a e-commerce website, we are booking our tickets on e-commerce, and majority of our fellow industry partners have also graduated much beyond that. So they are all enabled people. We give a tool to them that they are able to create even a port entry permits from wherever they are, and the truck seamlessly enters through the gate without stopping. And this really creates a right turnaround time for the trucker, which in turn would help reducing the cost and improving the turnaround time, and hence it will help the trade. So that is how we look at the end-to-end experience.
Thanks, Sujal. Thanks a lot for giving this insight. And as we do understand, that customer satisfaction remains to be the most challenging part. Two parts to it. One is understanding the customer, and the second is satisfying the customer. So with that, I should switch on to somebody who looks into this day in and day out, and her speciality lies in understanding the customer, addressing them, and to a great extent satisfying them. So Nilima, over to you. The question arises, how does green shipping fit into service quality offerings? What role does digitalization and technology play in ensuring service quality levels?
Good evening to all of you, and thank you India Sea Trade for this opportunity. I think we have reached the maturity firstly to understand what green shipping is all about, and the willingness in the customers or other organization or other every human being is high, and also they want to participate in all the interaction or all the activities which contribute to a green initiative. So after hearing the conversation from all of the speakers over here, what I understand that there is a common ground between all of us. Everybody are sharing the same thought process. So I feel that it will comprehensively contribute to the green supply chain. So at CMA CGM, our chairman, Mr. Rudolf Sade, has placed a lot of importance on decarbonization. We have an aspiration and a target to achieve net carbon zero by 2050, and we are moving towards that direction. Every day, every year, we are putting efforts to move one step closer to a green shipping and also contributing to the green supply chain. Moving over to the next question, to the next topic, that is about digitalization. I feel digitalization is an essential part today. I think all of us are on mobile 24/7, and we need not have any special training. We did not have a training how to use a WhatsApp or something. So it has become an integral part, and the learning comes very naturally. It is just like as we breathe or something. I'm pretty sure that nobody had to learn, how we can get into digitalization. So that is the state of digitalization today. Maybe years back it was a different story, but no longer. The AI is not a strange word. ChatGPT is not a strange word today. So at CMA CGM also we put a lot of focus on AI, and I can share an example. Earlier, SI to draft, that is shipping instruction to the BL draft, the turnaround time was 8 hours. So if a customer had submitted a shipping instruction, he had to wait for 8 hours because a human would process the information, looking after the compliance part of it, looking after the speed and accuracy part of it. Today, the AI capability that CMA CGM has developed, we turn around the draft within 15 minutes. 50% of our volumes are now turned around to the customer in 15 minutes, which is like an exciting factor for the customers and every organization who is interacting with us. So, I would say that digitization or AI will not replace humans, but as even Mr. Tandon mentioned, that it will enable us to have a considerable amount of face time with the customers. I think nothing can replace the face time that we enjoy. I think today we have a full of the audience. It is more to do, I mean, it is because we enjoy the human interaction. We are humans, we like to be treated well, we like to talk. So I think that is what the digitization is going to enable. So we can have a better conversation. It is not only about the freight rates or the transit time, it could also mean about, what is the depth of the port in a particular location, what are the rules and regulation, what are the taste, cultures across countries in the global. I think those kind of meaningful conversation can happen, and this can happen only if our basics are taken care by digitalization. So that's my summation, yeah.
Thanks, Nilima. Thanks to highlight the importance of the green change. We can totally relate to that thought because we as JM Baxi Port and Logistic, we are quite aggressive and trying to do our bit by changing most of the biofuels into the reusable energy like, ERTG, ZTVs and solar energy. So yes, that is, I think, the hour of the need to change as green as possible. Second, regarding your technology and getting inherited, human beings being inherited to adapt, to learn and understand. And the best example today is that, a generation before us, they buy anything and they have to have a big manual to use that. So the first way of buying it, at least what we have learned on the ship is, any equipment which comes, you have to take at least a day to a month, depending on that equipment sensitivity. You have to first go through the manual, then only you unpack that equipment. So you don't even unpack that equipment without reading the manual. In today's world, I mean, our generation and the generation after us, our kids, you give them any gadget and the first thing they do is they start using it. And by that time, if you go to the old days, by the time you'll finish reading the manual, they will know each and everything about that. So I totally agree that, thankfully we are adapting in a way that we are getting inherited of all these new changes, and that's what is helping us is taking this forward on a quite swift pace. So thanks, Nilima.
Mohit, I would like to add one
yes,
point.
Sure.
We spoke about communication and effective communication, but the most important thing is transparency. Like, if we don't keep transparency between our customers, then we can't survive. Like, so maybe we should be very transparent with our customers. That's a key. That will help us in growing.
Yeah, totally understand, and that's what I mean. There is like a lot of layers of effective communication, transparency being one, the length or complexity will be one. So I totally agree with you that it has to be very, very clear, honest and transparent communication with not only the customers but all the stakeholders in the industry. Right, thanks. So with that, I'll just move on to our last speaker, Mr. Kiran. So Kiran, I have two questions, but I'll ask one by one because they are a little bit different from each other, so I'll not correlate them. So my first question is, how do you sell the concept of service quality to the customer?
Good evening all. Thank you, Captain Mohit. And I thank India Sea Trade, Sudhir Bhai, because this is the second edition of Multimodal Logistics Summit in Kandla. And India Sea Trade is special because they always kept coastal shipping and short sea shipping as one of the focus areas from last decade, I would say. And my favorite subject is also coastal shipping. We are talking of multimodal, but when I looked at it, we are still a country with unimodal and bimodal. We have either road sea or road rail combination. We are not yet reached to the level of road, sea and rail, all combinations as a complete chain of a multimodal pan-India. Yeah, means in last 2 decades, yes, from unimodal, we have moved one level up to a combination of bimodal, we can say. If you look at integrated multimodal thing, thanks to PPP, all the ports and warehousing and highways and railways, everything is getting under PPP, and we have very, we can say, not fully developed, but quite a bit developed network. Like we can say we have 23 to 24 container terminals all across from Mundra up to Calcutta. We do have very good infrastructure on the road connectivity and rail connectivity, almost all of the terminals. We have very good warehouses, CFS facilities near the ports. But when we talk of multimodal, and if we look at India's numbers, that is going by waterborne transport, including our inland water transport and the short sea and the coastal cargo movement, that is predominantly 6 to 7% for last 20 odd years, we can see the number. If you just take out the liquid portion of it and we talk of just the dry bulk and maybe the container and general cargo, it is merely 2%. So if we say our road transport network is the second largest in the world and the busiest, if we look at the rail network, which is the 4th largest and second busiest, so road and rail is doing better. But if we look at the 9th largest world's waterway infrastructure, what India has, we are only carrying 2% of the goods using the waterborne transport. So in last 2 decades, what we progressed is maybe a 1% of cargo is moving in break bulk vessels. 1% of the cargo is moving in container vessels, that is carrying around 60 million ton of cargo, and around 3 lakh containers is a combination of the domestic cargo moving across the country, right from east to west coast. Then I realized where we are not progressing on coastal shipping. What is the reason? Means we started in 2002 or 3 and now we are carrying around 3 lakh containers in a year across India, carrying domestic cargo. So I think we achieved connecting around 15 ports along the east and west coast which are having container terminal facilities, and we are well connected to meet the customer requirements, but still there is a lot of scope to expand that. Then I realized if you look at the airports, like earlier our India's 15-20 airports were connected, now more than 100 airports we are connecting. So now it's a time to look at connecting the smaller ports. We do have very good, we are around 60 ports which can be explored other than the 15 ports which are already having the services. So it's a high time to look at a short sea shipping model. And I was speaking last year also here with Captain Mohit. So I mentioned that yes, if we have to really look at developing the coastal shipping in India, and if we are talking of quality and the best practices, I think whenever we look for the quality and best practices, we look at the best model in the world. So as I mentioned last year that yes, European short sea shipping model is one of the best tested successful model for more than 200 odd years. And I was always, I worked for Indian corporates for developing the container coastal shipping business for last 20 years. Then I realized, no, I think I need to do something different. And then I looked at, we have to understand the European short sea model. Then practically, I got opportunity to explore that model last month. And when I have seen Indian coast and coastal movements and multimodal movements last 20-21 years, but when I went to Europe and visited around 10 ports, deep sea and hinterland ports, and what I have seen is, it's a very collective effort of the government, the shippers, the cargo owners, and the shipping service providers to cater. So before making any decision, they think of multimodal and waterborne transport as first priority, rail and then road as the priority. That starts with the cargo owners. So here, Government of India has given a lot of leverage, lot of facilitation for the coastal cargoes to be carried. What we don't have ships. We need hundreds and hundreds of ships, not the bigger ones, but we need the ships from say 400 tons to say 12 to 15,000 ton deadweight, and connecting predominantly the shorter hauls. This will help us in two ways. One, our containers originating in Indian ports, except Mundra or Nhava Sheva, almost all other 10, 15 odd container terminals, those cargoes are getting connected to Jebel Ali, Colombo or Singapore Port Klang, and that is around 75% of the volume, and $80 to $100 extra cost to our customers. If we do this action, that the government, the cargo owners and the shipping service providers come together, and if we have smaller shipping assets operating along our coast and connecting the smaller routes, shorter routes, that will reduce the foreign land transshipment, and it will happen within India. So that will save a huge cost to every shipper, which we always talk in all the sessions. Two, the coastal cargo, even by road, what cargo is moving per ton kilometer cost. It will only happen if we are having roads, rail and sea combination and a truly multimodal. Then only it will work. So we have to start looking at the small size barges. We can say small container vessels, even the ro-packs, what was shown, Detox Group just presented. So even ro and ro-packs is not popular in India at all. We have a couple of them, not even 10 of them. We are very less assets. And two, our Indian flagships, if we look at, they are aging. We have very less tonnage operating in India. So it's a time, I would suggest, all of us should be collectively looking at a short sea shipping model, having bulk, break bulk and container vessels and ro-packs vessel coming to India. Let us take a collective effort and do this.
Thank you, Kiran. Thanks a lot. And by that, you have also answered my second question, which I was supposed to ask, was that basis the European coastal model, how do you see a way forward and how coastal shipping in India can add value to the multimodal logistic. So thank you, Kiran, for addressing that, and what I understand from this thing, and basis the first discussion. Normally in the logistic, we say that the cost is minimum on sea, then on rail, and then on road. But again, my thought is this is not a very correct comparison. Why it is not a very correct comparison is, and then I'll come to how multimodal logistic working in India is, that they are the way they are in the hierarchy. If you look them in the silos, so if railway or waterborne is in silo, they are the cheapest compared to the road. But the problem happens, or the challenge comes, when there is a multimodal shift or intermodal shift. That is which is the most cost consuming factor. So for example, a rail cargo, if you have to connect last mile, first mile by road, it becomes very expensive. And that's when, most of the shipper or exporter prefer to have a same mode of transport. And that is the reason that even today, if you go to North India and you ask most of the rice exporter, the 60% of the rice connecting to the Gujarat ports are by road. It's just because they still find it more cost effective and more reliable. So again, that's what my point is, that if we need to grow on multimodal logistic platform, we need to address this intermodal shift cost efficiency, and that's when we can achieve that. With that, I think we can conclude this panel unless we have any questions. Do we have time? Yeah. So I think we have about 5 minutes to address the question. If any of the audience have any questions to any of the panelists. So this actually I've heard in my school only, whenever there is no question, the teacher will always ask. There can be only two reasons. Either you have understood everything or you have understood nothing. So I was in the latter part of the category, so I couldn't understand anything. That's why I was not asking question. With these brainy people, I don't think so that can be the reason. Or unless you are waiting for a cup of tea to get yourself charged up.
But Captain, I just need...
I think Mr. Biju.
I have a question to Nilima, actually. Shipping lines are actually embracing a lot of technological advancement. Companies like Maersk and all is actually much in advance in, bringing technologies. One thing I still feel that blockchain technologies are not been embraced yet. Blockchain technologies will make documentation much more safer and tamper-proof. And I feel it's a high time the shipping lines has to get into, blockchain technologies when it comes to issuing the bill of lading and such non-negotiable instruments. So is there anything happening in that line? Is there any discussions or research happening on issuing, documents through blockchain technology?
Okay, so I guess it was, it was evaluated some years back, and it was understood that the shipping market is currently not matured to have this introduced. But I can say that for last 2 years, the advancement that has been done in AI in terms of using the artificial intelligence and using the digitalization, yes, I think it could be the right time right now to again evaluate, and it will definitely going to add value to the overall process. And I feel as the awareness is also high, willingness is high, people want transparency this point has been discussed time and again, that the transparency needs to be there. It is appreciated by the organization, by the customers. Yes, I think this could be a very good point right now to again evaluate and progress in the same direction. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, because we spoke about coastal shipping, suppose we need more ships. So just mentioning my current company, Rhenus Logistics, what they do in Europe, we have around 42 ports operated. We have got around 1,100 small to big vessels from 400 to 15,000 ton deadweight, and they are catering all this with the bulk and container as a combination. So what I have a thought, if we really practically want to implement, we have experience, expertise and technology, everything, and it's a successful model carrying 25 million tons cargo a year. So we are ready to help the cargo owners, and even with Government of India, we are ready to collaborate to share our experience, expertise and knowledge and even the assets and deploy it here. So we need to open the doors. So we are also open as Rhenus Logistics. Okay, if government wants, we can always go to government, say whatever we can share to grow the Indian coastal shipping. We are ready and we are there for you as a service provider.
Kiran, we as an LCL logistics provider, we would be waiting for an opportunity to move our Cochin cargo to Nhava Sheva, because from Cochin again, it's we have to transship all the cargo either to Singapore or Dubai. So basically we are also looking for something where we can stuff the cargo in Cochin and move the entire cargo to Nhava Sheva. So we would love to wait for that opportunity, and that whatever you say, it should come true in coming years.
Yeah, so more and more shifts will come, not only from my company I'm saying, but as a trade, as the shipping companies, those who are interested to deploy, so government, the cargo owners and all of us has to take a collective effort. So we are always open for any discussion with any of the cargo owners, any of the corporates, any of the government officials. Even I can go one step ahead, I would say the government shipping secretaries or any of them are keen to understand the model. We can take them, show them the successful model, how it works with a complete study tour. And then they can take a call whether it should be the right step forward.
I think the very essence of squashing that cabotage law was to bring in, synergies between, ports and, consolidate in one place and bringing it to the other place like that. But then it's not yet matured, I think.
No, I think that is very different subject.
Yeah, thanks Kiran for throwing that light, and we have worked on the coastal projects in the past, and we do understand that still there is a lot of scope which lies in the coastal not just for the economy of the country, but also to venture out the GDP cost effectiveness, what we keep talking on. So unless we actually transform from land to sea, that will be a good modal shift to achieve what we are targeting. With that, I'll again go back to the audience if anybody has any questions to ask, any discussions. Yes.
Hello. I just need to ask with the speakers, hello everyone, how we are dealing with the Houthis attacks is being at the Red Sea and we are facing right now. So how we are dealing and how the government is dealing with them, and when will it will be closed? How much time it will be closed?
I don't think so. We have a capacity to deal with the Houthis within ourselves, and really cannot comment what government is planning to do, because unless anybody wants to take that question. But otherwise, I don't think so. We are expert in handling the Houthis. Exactly. So it's not a government part. It is more of a, it's much more than that. From the logistic part, I can only give a small insight, and then my panelists can add to it. The only effect or a disadvantage or a disruption to the logistic, what we see is two things. First off, the delays, because you have to take a much longer route now. You are not passing the Suez Canal, you are derouting the vessels to at least 14 days extra voyage. So that is what will cause the disruption and the delays. And related to that will be the cost. So it is imperative that if the vessel is taking longer time to reach from point of origin to point of destination, it is consuming more fuel, which is taking more money. It is spending more on the charter hire, which is again spending more money. It is spending more on a daily OPEX cost, which again is resulting in more money. So the two effects which I can see is the cost and the delays or time sensitiveness. My panelists, anybody wants to add, please, you are free to add to it. Yeah, so that much best we can give it to you on a Houthis attack.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Right. Yeah. Anyone else? So Sudhir, with that we can conclude the session. Thank you very much for the audience and for the panelists for such an interactive sessions. Thank you.
Thank you everybody for such an insightful session. I would request everyone to kindly remain on stage, and I would like to invite on stage Mr. P.G. Nair, Commercial Director of India Sea Trade, on stage to present the mementos as a token of appreciation to all our panelists. First, I would request Mr. Nair to present the memento to Mr. Priyalal. Next to Mr. Shah. To Mr. Thomas. Everybody, if we all can join our hands for this very special moment. We have all our panelists on stage. Next, Mr. Nandre. Next to Mr. Shetty. Next to Mr. Chandan. To Ms. Palav. And last but not the least, to our moderator of this session, Captain Chaturvedi. And now let's have a group photograph. And now at any moment, we're gonna have our last session that